Hey guys, what's going on? So I just went and saw the new Cloverfield movie the other day, and it absolutely blew me away. This movie was fantastic. The way it opened was it was so cool. It was almost like The Last of Us, if you've ever played that. But I'm just talking about like the opening credits. Like, were really cool. But nothing could possibly be compared to the way Deadpool did it. Deadpool's opening was just absolutely amazing. And if you haven't seen that movie, you have to go and see that. That was amazing. But anyway, so with Cloverfield, a lot of it is just character development. This movie's very focused on character development, and it works so well because you're pretty much in a room with these three characters for the whole movie, and it's fantastic. And so there's John Goodman, and he plays Howard, and he's a guy who thinks that the world is coming to an end, and he believes that all of the air outside has become poisonous, and it's either due to the Russians or to aliens. There's Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Michelle, and she's a character who's trying to escape from a bad relationship, and she's just kind of trying to move on with her life. That's like the first 10 seconds of the movie is her kind of little backstory. And finally there's John Gallagher Jr., who, for those of you that would know, is Jim Harper from Newsroom, and he plays a neighbor who happens to know about Howard's plans to survive for the end of the world. So Howard is this guy who's like pretty much spent his whole life building a bunker, like in anticipation for the end of the world. So that's kind of how he's all wrapped up in this. So it starts out with Michelle and her boyfriend Ben. They're fighting, and she's avoiding his calls, and she frantically, leaves the apartment. She's moving out. She's got boxes in hand, and she's ready to start life anew. And then she gets run off the road, and that's when the opening credits start. So she just, out of nowhere, another car comes, hits her, flips her car, she's a mess. Then she wakes up, and she's in a cellar and chained to a wall, and she has no idea what's going on. And then this huge dude just comes into the room. You can hear loud footsteps, coming down the hallway, really showing that this dude is like, you don't want to mess with him. Then it turns out that it's Howard, and he kind of explains the situation to her, saying, hey, I found you, you were messed up, this, that, and the other. So after that, she kind of talks to Howard and, figures it out, she goes out of the room and she meets Emmett, who is the last character in the bunker, and that's, John Gallagher Jr. And she's skeptical, and she doesn't, trust these people. She doesn't know them, so she's like, this is kind of weird. And they keep referring to this thing as, like, the attack. That something's happened, and she doesn't get it. So eventually she kind of does, they explain more of it, and she kind of like jumps on board. It's really like one of the best movies I've ever seen John Goodman in. Like, he did so well in this movie that he plays like a stern, like loving parent. Like, you can tell like he's doing it. He does what he does just so that he can protect his family, and his family being these two for now, and he's just like, he's really doing it so that he can, make sure that they survive, the attack. The next minute, though, he can pull a complete 180, and he's a nutcase, and he's, punching walls and like absolutely losing his mind. So but he plays both sides incredibly well. It's truly one of his best movies. This movie's so like unpredictable. Like, you have no idea like what's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. And I tried calling like everything that happened in this movie, and it just did not work. Like, I was I was really bad at calling things, and usually I'm pretty good, but this time it was all out of left field, and that was fantastic. So my only complaint with the movie is that we didn't get a lot of backstory as to what happened to Howard before the attack. There are brief glimpses and a few photos lying around, but nothing like crazy substantial. It's a world that I really wouldn't mind like really getting into. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the first Cloverfield. It took me a few times to watch it to actually really like it. But now, like, that movie's great. Like, I like the world they set up a lot more than the characters in it, but I think the universe is super cool. And this movie just puts that universe into another perspective, and that's great. So, like, if they decided they wanted to, write, sometimes they put novels out for movies, or they wanted to make, like, a comic book prequel in-betweener kind of thing, like, anything they put out now for Cloverfield, I'm going to buy it, like, day one, get into it, because this movie just made that universe so much cooler and so much more understandable and almost believable. Like, this movie was so good that you can see something like this happening. Like, it was fantastic. I really want to see where the story goes from here. Like, I can't wait. I really, really hope that they make a sequel. That would be fantastic, like a direct sequel to this movie, because I really want to see where everything's going. But yeah, I wish with this movie that we'd have gotten a little bit more of a backstory. Like, kind of like, you can't really tell, seeing this movie, you can't really tell where it fits to the first one. If it's because it's not a sequel, it's not a direct sequel to the first one, but like parts of it could be. And so I think it almost like runs alongside the first one. They're both happening at the same time within this universe, but I wish it would have been more clear, and I wish I knew like exactly where this movie stood in the universe. But really, that's my only issue, just, backstory kind of stuff, and then I want more of it. But all in all, I loved this movie. And it kind of had a slow start, it took a while to get, like, to the really, really, like, interesting parts and, like, the twists and stuff like that. But that's, character building and character development that every single movie ever has. So, but everything about, like, this universe and everything is fantastic. J.J. Abrams really did a great job, like, creating this world that's crazy fantastical, but super believable, too. It's something that few creators really have the ability to do. And, David Trachtenberg did a fantastic job directing. These people must have really liked working for him, because they did a great job. He did a fantastic job directing, and he really knew what he was doing. John Goodman was, like, amazing. Like I said, like, he was absolutely fantastic. He's, like I said, this is like one of the best movies that I've really seen him in, like, lately, I guess. That he's been like, whoa, this is fantastic. So recently this was bar none one of his best movies. I really couldn't get enough, of the twists and turns in this movie. Like, it was just so cool that I didn't expect anything that was going on. Like, I absolutely loved this movie. It moves at a really good pace too. Like, it's not something where, like, something happens and, the bad guy, like, is kind of on the trail, but then, the good guy comes in real quick and is like, oh, wait, no, come look over here, look at this is something else, and he gets distracted and goes away. It's like, no, like, if you mess up, he's gonna know we're getting into it now, and it goes from there. It just moves, and that's what I think I really liked about this movie, is that it wasn't any kind of crap. It's just, hey, oh yeah, you messed up, all right, here are your consequences right now. It's not, oh, we're gonna deal with it, here's 10 more minutes of filler, and then we're going to get back to it. It's, oh, okay, we're moving now, and that was fantastic. I would definitely give this movie a high recommendation. Definitely go see it. It's great. If you want to see it as a direct sequel to the first one, you're going to be disappointed, because it's really not, it's not a monster movie in the sense of giant Godzilla kind of monster. And I'm not a huge fan of the number scale rating, so I don't use that in any kind of review or anything, but I definitely give this a strong recommendation. If you guys have seen it, or if you're gonna go see it, let me know. Leave a comment below, just because I really like movies and I want to see what you guys think about it, and if there's any movies that you've seen or you're excited for, anything, movie related, leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you on that. And also, if you like reviews, if you want us to, keep doing reviews, we'll review games or movies or comic books or anything, anything that you guys tell us to, we'll probably get into it. So leave a comment below about anything I just said, and thumbs up the video, because that would be awesome if you liked the review or this movie, or thumbs down it if you didn't like it, but make sure you leave a comment as to why you didn't like it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us so you can get more awesome content pretty much like every day, if at least every week. So that, I'm Joe, and Scrubs out.